most small XRP investors have no clue what's coming. And right now, Kevin O'Leary talked about this as well. Like, look at this. Kevin O'Leary literally talking about what's next for crypto and talking about XRP.
They were young and had nothing. Even the ones that were employees their whole lives that are now financially free had the discipline to say no.
So at the current moment, the cryptocurrency market and also the S&P 500 is not doing too well. We have rising interest rates on federal loans, and we also have rising interest rates on 30-year mortgage loans.
This I didn't understand. Why is the crypto market not doing too well? And we're literally in the lowest unemployment of our life. Inflation is also low. It's nothing like 2022. So I don't kind of agree that the markets are bad. Although this video is slightly older, maybe like a few days older. But the markets right now are pretty well.
I bought for 200,000 worth over $1 million today.
Crypto. So are you still bullish on crypto as an investment?
Yeah, I am actually, but people get crypto confused with its real potential. If you believe in Bitcoin, you think it's a digital gold and you live through the volatility. I believe in both. I believe that crypto will be the 12th sector of the S&P in some period of time because it provides productivity to all 11 other sectors. So the way I own it is I own the exchanges. My exchange, in one called WonderFi up in Canada, just got acquired last week or 2 weeks ago by Robinhood. I'm happy because I think Vlad, who runs Robinhood's great. And now he's...
Yeah, so Robinhood is basically buying everything crypto related. They're going big on crypto. It's another point I want to add. But yeah, crypto is going to be its own thing from the S&P. XRP is going to be its own playing field in that sense.
Got 1 million plus accounts in Canada, a market that he'd never participated in. But the point is, this is never going away. It's going to stay forever. So how do you participate?
So yeah, he's saying that XRP is never going away, which is really great news, right? Because this was not a possibility 10 years ago. XRP could have disappeared forever, especially pre-lawsuit.
You can buy some Bitcoin just like you can buy gold. Buy it an ETF or actually own it yourself. You can buy the exchanges. You can use, you can buy Circle stock now. It's public. You can, Circle makes USDC. You can buy USDC in an account and make 4.1% interest on it right now. So there's a lot of ways to participate. But yes, I'm here to stay. But I've grown up. I was around during the period where the crypto cowboys lived.
And yeah, we're waiting for the mass institutional adoption. That would be definitely the best thing with a massive influx of retail coming in. That would be the best thing that would happen, right now would be the best case scenario. But the government is still taking their time with it. So once they reveal that, could be really good news.
And I survived that all. And I even testified in front of the Senate and the House and whatever else the testimonies were during the tumultuous period. Let's talk about digital payment systems, because what's about to pass first, we are days away from this happening, is the Genius Act, which is actually the Stablecoin Act. It was just passed by the Senate 48 hours ago. It's going back to the House. I actually worked on that bill 2 years ago.
So the Genius Act, this was huge news for XRP. They're finally getting the legal framework that they need to be a huge competitor in the banking industry. XRP is finally coming to a conclusion with their lawsuit with the SEC, and the Genius Act is obviously going to pave the road for XRP to continue growing. In this article,
if we ever want to see basically at $10, XRP at $10, the Genius Act needed to pass.
We can see it states XRP set to move trillions. Banking CEO drops bombshell on Ripple's role in tokenizing finance. And it says, according to King XRP, the XRP ledger is on the brink of a groundbreaking transformation that could unlock a staggering $196 trillion of market through the emergence of RealFi and real-world finance powered by blockchain tech.
So 200 trillion is like just the estimated market number. I feel like 200 trillion is really hard to it's not going to be 200 trillion directly that you will get of the money. It's just like the potential barrier. So the potential here is very high for XRP.
Technology. So where is this $196 trillion going to come from? If you look at the total valuation of all the banks in the world, you'll notice that it's valued at $12 trillion. JP Morgan by itself has a market cap of $800 billion, and this is not including the assets that they have under management. It's simply their valuation. They have so much more assets under their management. If we look at XRP's market cap, it's at $176 billion.
So yeah, important to say that banks, have a lot of assets under management, but XRP and Ripple are totally different companies.
Transforming
so XRP's market cap is not the same as how many, assets JP Morgan has and how much the bank is worth itself.
And XRP only has fees that amount to a couple of pennies. Also, the banking system is very slow because they use a Swift platform, which can take 1 to 5 days for a wire transfer or deposit to go through. XRP,
we need all the acts to go through, basically, all three of them, not just the Clarity not just the Genius Act, but also the Clarity Act. That's very true.
Low fees, and we also have instantaneous transfers. So that's not something JP Morgan and Chase can do, or ICBC, or any of these banks.
In terms of Bitcoin allocation,
And we're still in very early stages for XRP.
or crypto allocation, what is it now?
It's at about all in. We marked to market last month. It was 19.1%.
19.1%.
Yeah, I have to keep it under 20. It's a sector. So, but remember, in that is the cryptos itself, the Bitcoin, the USDC, and the shares of the infrastructure companies like Circle and everything else. I've got, it was a very successful IPO, and I'm very happy with that portfolio. But if everybody that's listening to this does that, they will maintain and grow their wealth. But it's people bet. They make big bets. They think they're so damn right. They put half their net worth into one sector or one stock and they get wiped out. That's what happens.
So would your mother pick the stocks herself, or would she invest in an index fund, or
She indexed.
she used to? So okay.
Even back then, they didn't have ETFs, but they had mutual funds that said their only stock in this mutual fund it doesn't have any debt and it pays dividends. Whatever. They were very rudimentary back then. They were just collections of stocks. I think she had like 28 names or something like that in the portfolio. But if you looked at them, they were really boring large cap names. But they were sectorally diverse. There wasn't 10 sectors back then. There wasn't 11. There was 10. So
I feel like the thing is, right now, no other, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you couldn't get the gains you have now with crypto.
they didn't have real estate as a sector. So, but I looked at it saying, wow, these are really boring.
Most people's primary investment asset is the house they buy. Is that
Yes,
not?
it is, but it's also the debt they own. It's a primary asset. How much debt does it have on it? It's only the equity value is the asset. So if you're buying a house that's too big and you've only put down 10% and it's 90% mortgage, what do you really own? You really own the 10% at whatever price it is. Sometimes housing goes flat for a while. It's okay, but it's not okay if it's too much house.
So at the current moment,
So that's the thing with XRP right now, because it got 350% gains. Even if it goes down 200%, you're still like up 150 if you bought it at the right time, right? And that's really what people are doing right now. They're focused on the future. They're seeing these assets that lock them in and don't give them any real returns. They're looking for alternatives.
not only that, but loans coming from the Fed are now at an all-time high. We can see that in June, the federal interest rate was around 0.1%, was very low. And then in May of last year, we reached a high of 5.33%, and now it is August, and we're still at 4.33%. This is very...
I feel like we're going to get 3 rate cuts anyway for now, which 3 rate cuts will seriously boost the economy as well. Guys, it is time